Just a little drink of water before I get started. What's up YouTube? It's your boy, BMAC. Today we're going to talk about something pretty important, but something that's also often overlooked. We're going to talk about export settings within Lightroom for your Instagram photos. Seems to be there's two sides when it comes to exporting photos in Lightroom for your Instagram feed. You get the one side, which I happen to find myself on, that thinks that you should give Instagram the highest quality photo possible to be able to work with the thinking that the more data, the more information within your photo that you give Instagram, the more Instagram has to work with to make your photo look good once they put it through their compression settings and actually post it on their site. The other side of that are the exporters who think, no, you should export your photo with the dimensions and quality and settings that Instagram suggests for you. With the thinking that the less work Instagram has to do on your photo, the less noticeable the compression will actually be, which thus will supposedly lead to a higher quality photo. At the end of the day, we are talking about a very small photo displayed on a very small screen, so the differences are very, very small, if any. So that's something to consider, but regardless, I'm gonna walk you through in Lightroom to show you my export process when it comes to the photos I post on my Instagram feed, tell you what the settings mean, explain each and every one of them, so we start exporting photos within Lightroom to your Instagram feed like a boss. Like a boss, like boom. Boss. Okay, let's just get started. So here we are within the Adobe Lightroom. I got this photo looking good here. I got all my settings and edits dialed in over here on the right. She's looking sleek, she's sexy, she's Insta ready. So I can export this picture by either going to File, Export right up here, or if you want to be fancy, you can cancel it out of that. You can click Command-Shift-E as a little shortcut. That'll bring up the box as well. So this is our export file box. We're gonna walk you through these steps right here, tell you what each one of these sections means, starting with the export location. Pretty simple. This is where your photo will actually export to. Right now I have it set to desktop. That's where the photo is gonna pop up. Quickest, easiest place to find it, so that's usually where I put it. If you want to put it in a folder on your desktop, that's where put in subfolder comes in. You can name the folder, it'll pop up in a folder on your desktop like that. You can also add it back into your Lightroom catalog once it exports, so you can have the edited photo and the final version in your catalog. I like to keep my Lightroom catalog organized, so I'm gonna unselect that, and I don't really need to put in a folder, so I'm taking that option off as well. Existing files, this is just a very simple option right here. If you're exporting with the same file name as a file that already exists in your folder location where you're exporting the file to, you can have it automatically set for what it's gonna do. It'll skip the operation, won't do anything, it'll overwrite without a warning, just get rid of the file that was there in the first place, or it'll have you choose a new name for the exported file. I usually just have ask what to do. That way a little alert will pop up saying, hello, we already have a file with that name. What do you want to do? Pretty simple. Moving on to file naming here. As you could guess, this is what the file name is actually going to be when you export it. You could rename it to a custom name like I'm going to do here so I recognize it. Adobe car pick seems appropriate. You could also pick, a custom name up here with a sequence, original file number attached to it, file name with the sequence, date file name. There's a whole bunch of options. This example down here is what the file name is going to be with the extension, and for whatever reason, if you wanted to change that extension to be uppercase right there, you could do that too. We're not going to talk about video because we're not exporting a video here. We're exporting a photo, so close that out, forget about it. File settings. Now this is important. Image format, you want to pick JPEG. PSD, TIFF, DNG, those are other formats that you can export to. Right now, Instagram only accepts JPEG or PNG images. It may change in the future. Maybe they'll pick up TIFF files in the future. Not too sure. As of the making of this video right now, you could only do JPEG or PNG. And since we only have JPEG here, we're gonna select that. Color space. Instagram recently did implement wide color gamut support, which is what the other options are that you see here. But more often than not, your photo was taken in the sRGB color space, so that's what I roll with. Quality and limit file size too. Now this is where you have some people argue that you should limit the file size to a certain number over here. I'm not gonna limit it in quality. I'm not crunching the quality. I say nay. We're gonna keep 100% quality. Give Instagram the highest quality photo possible. JPEG, sRGB, 100% quality, no limit. Moving on to image sizing. Here's another section where you have some people tell you you should resize the image so that it's not crunched on Instagram or it's not blown up. That might work. In my experience, I don't like to do anything to the photo. I'll just let Instagram do its thing and hope that it does its thing in a good way. But just to cover that quickly, resize to fit. Instagram basically wants this part of your image to be 1080 pixels, the bottom part of your image. edge. So if we go back to our export box, what you would do here, image sizing, resize the fit, that's the short edge in this photo. So that'd be short edge, 1080 pixels. You don't have to worry about resolution because we're not printing this picture out. And God forbid your photo is smaller than that. You could click don't enlarge. Hopefully your photo's high enough quality with enough pixels that you don't have to enlarge it to fit this. But that's what's going on there. If it was a landscape photo where we had a crop, that would be the long edge and you would want to resize that to be 1080 pixels. So let's undo that, go back to where we were. Go back to the export box, scroll down. We're not gonna resize this. We're gonna follow my theory that the highest quality photo you can give Instagram, the better. So no resizing to fit. This is important. Some people don't talk about this, but output sharpening. If you watch my Lightroom tutorial video, we already talked about how to properly sharpen your image within the develop modules over here in Lightroom. But I've tried this out. You could experiment it with yourself a little bit if you want. I do find that sharpening for screen, with the amount standard over here, does make the image look better on Instagram when you're scrolling through your photos. It's just a little subtle sharpening that I think makes it look just a little bit better. Again, you could play around with this if you want. Sharpen 4. Screen, we're not printing it out, so I don't pick matte or glossy. Screen in amount, high, standard, low. I usually go with standard. It looks pretty good to me. Metadata. This is just like information that's embedded in your photo. Person info, location info. You can choose to include that or not. Doesn't really matter to me. Forget that. Watermark. If you want to add a watermark, you could do so. You could edit what that looks like. It'll pop up. I'm putting this on Instagram, so I don't want watermarks on every single photo on my Instagram feed. We're not going to be adding a watermark today. In post-processing, this is just a very subtle feature, not huge, but it's a little bit helpful. I think by default this is set to do nothing. I like to set it to show in Finder, which means after the export, after we export this photo, it's going to pop up right on your screen, so you'll see it right there. You don't have to go looking for it. We're going to change this back to Dope Car Pick. I want that name. And once all these settings are dialed in, we're ready to export. All I got to do, click that export button. And there it is, popped up on our desktop. From here, I'll click the space bar, do a quick look. I could click this little arrow box over here and airdrop it to myself on my phone. There I am, I would just click that, and right now it's sending it over to my phone, so I have it on my phone, it goes in my camera roll. From here, I can upload it straight to the gram. So those are the settings I use within Adobe Lightroom for my photo exports for Instagram. Whether you crunch down the photo to fit the specifications that Instagram wants, or if you do it my way by giving Instagram the highest quality photo possible, I don't really think either way is wrong. We're talking about a very marginal difference here, but if you need to know how to export your photos in general, hopefully this tutorial gave you a little bit of know-how. To see how these settings look in the real world, you can check out my Instagram feed, at BMAC on the Insta. Shoot me a follow, tag me in a couple of your photos. I'll be sure to check out your feed and like a couple of my favorites. This baby's ready for the gram. I'm gonna go upload her. I'll see you tomorrow.